We are ready for the start. They're off in the Breeders' Cup Classic. Arrowgate broke to his left coming out of the starting gate. Not a good beginning for him, but a great one for Gun Runner and Collected. These two will go out for the early lead together, and a crush of horses trying to get position behind them. Mubtahij, Churchill, and on the outside, West Coast. And then it's Pavel right behind them. Then it's War Story. Arrowgate, who hung a left coming out of the gate, is racing about 10 lengths off the lead with a lap to go. He's alongside of Gunnavera. After that, it's War Decree and Win the Space. So Gun Runner will get ahead of Collected early on here. That first quarter mile was a taxing 22.50 seconds. And with 7 furlongs to run, Florent Giroux and Gun Runner lead it by a length. Collected and Martin Garcia second on the outside. Churchill is third. And then it's West Coast running in fourth. Mubtahij is fifth by 2. Pavel is sixth. Arrowgate is down on the inside of War Story onto the backstretch. Mike Smith trying to find a good spot with him. He's 8 lengths off the lead after a 46.31 half mile. Then Gunnavera and War Decree, and far behind is Win the Space. So they go up the backstretch in the Breeders' Cup Classic at Del Mar. And Gun Runner and Collected are 1-2. And Arrowgate is near the back of the field. Mike Smith trying to urge him. He's still about 8 lengths behind. Racing for the far turn, Gun Runner the leader. On the outside, Collected has been battling him the whole way. 3/4 up at 110.50 seconds. West Coast is now 4 lengths off the lead and being ridden by Javier Castellano. War Story is fourth under a drive. Arrowgate's going to take the far outside route. He's coming up on the outside of Gunnavera, but he's a long way behind Gun Runner and Collected as they make their way to the top of the stretch in the Breeders' Cup Classic. They're into the stretch, and it's Collected and Gun Runner. They've been battling since the gates opened. Gun Runner's got the lead. Collected, West Coast is bearing down on them on the outside. Final 16. Gun Runner reaching for the wire. Collected's alongside, and then comes West Coast and War Story. But Gun Runner's on top of the world. He wins the Breeders' Cup Classic over Collected. Then came West Coast, followed by War Story. Arrowgate was coming late, but too late. The final time was 2 minutes, 1.29 seconds.
Performance by Gun Runner to make the
Yes, what a performance by Gun Runner indeed as a racehorse. Grade 1 wins beyond that include the Stephen Foster, the Woodward, the Whitney, where he got that shoe in his tail, as you'll recall, the Pegasus World Cup. And not only that, but now he's off to this tremendous start as sire. We've got his freshman crop rolling, and we have now 2 grade 1 winners on this, picking up those grade 1s on the same weekend. We're going to talk about them in just a little bit. But my whole emphasis today is going to be about the fact that we have these past Breeders' Cup champions like Gun Runner, whose progeny are really looking like quality animals. And, you know, Gun Runner himself is a great example of this, because not only is he a son of a horse like Candy Ride, who, you know, won the Pacific Classic, was undefeated, but his mother, Gun Runner's mother, half-sister to another Breeders' Cup Classic champion in St. Liam. So we're going to talk about those babies of his in just a little bit. There was so much action this weekend. I need some help. And here to go over the races with me, my favorite handicapper of all time, Matt Carruthers. Hi.
Hi, how are you?
I'm doing well. I don't know how do we look best.
I thought you were going to say Andy Byer or Tom Brohammer, but I appreciate that.
Well,
I appreciate that. You're a little biased.
I was going to actually introduce you as the guy with the second best head of hair in horse racing, because we just saw the first with Steve Esselstyn. But, you know.
Yeah, when obviously when Gun Runner won that Del Mar a couple of years ago, I don't know where Asmussen was on the list, but we know he's number 1 now in terms of all-time wins. And I mean, we talk about records in sports that are hard to break. You know, the obvious one is DiMaggio's 56-game hitting streak in baseball. However many Asmussen ends up with, I mean, the man, he's not an old man. And he's not dropping off anytime. I mean, who knows how many wins he ends up having in the end. That's going to be a record that who knows if that's ever going to be broken.
Yeah, well, it is incredible, this career that he's already put together. one of those star babies that look to be a star on the rise by a champion Breeders' Cup star stallion is Curlin, who, of course, Steve trained. But let's go ahead. Let's talk about Kentucky Downs because we have so many replays to look at right now.
Okay.
And again, the whole angle this weekend is, for the most part, with the exception of 2 of the replays we're going to go over today, with the exception again of 2, every stakes winner was by a Breeders' Cup champion. How crazy is that, right? So let's start off talking about the Aristocrat Juvenile Phillies Stakes. That was at Kentucky Downs. And the winner, a race for 2-year-old fillies, all turf racing there at Kentucky Downs, mile events, and
small purses too.
Oh my gosh. No, this one was $500,000, right? Your winner was Turner Loose by Nyquist. Nyquist, of course, won the 2015 Breeders' Cup Juvenile. And he went on to win the Kentucky Derby. And he was only the 2nd horse to have ever done that. Beyer came back at 68. The final time was 136 and 19/100ths. Turner Loose, she was coming in off her debut score at Ellis Park. That was a mile on the turf. And I should also mention to you, one of the other things I find is really interesting regarding this filly's pedigree is not only is she by a Breeders' Cup winner in Nyquist, who again won the Juvenile, but then she's out of goaltending, who is by Hall of Famer and Breeders' Cup Classic champion AP Indy. So you get more of that Breeders' Cup pedcred there. Also, her grandmother, Grade 1 Princess Rooney winner, Game Face. And then this family also includes stakes winner, multiple Grade 1 placed Harbor Club, and it tails directly to 1954's champion 2-year-old filly, High Voltage. You probably don't remember her, Matt, but champion filly.
Even I don't.
Even you don't. Okay, so let's go ahead. We're going to watch this replay of the Aristocrat. She wins by 5 lengths. I don't have the full replay. This is just the stretch from TVG. Thank you, TVG. Social media, so you can check it out there if you want to watch it back. So,
it's an undulating turf course, by the way.
I know. We don't hear that enough.
It's undulating.
We do not hear that enough. Okay, so let's see here. I think I've got the screen shared.
And then it's back to Ring Me Darling and Ms. Jameson. They complete a 46.07.
Becomes an undulation, I think.
We go to the top of the stretch here.
Soon.
It is still Turner Loose and Very Little Sense, and the 2 of them turn for home together. And Yin Yang has been produced on the outside by Joel Rosario and is coming up to the pace setters as they race down to the final furlong. Soldado is 4th in the middle of the track. It is Turner Loose and Yin Yang, and these 2 have moved away. Turner Loose has something left in the tank. Yin Yang is all out in 2nd. Then comes Very Little Sense in 3rd. It is Turner Loose and Florent Giroux did, and she won for fun. Yin Yang was 2nd, and then came Very Little Sense and Soldado.
Okay, so now, first of all, as you just said, and I also, one of the other things I do want to mention is, if you had been watching me last year around this time, we were talking about the Nyquist babies. One of the things that I was noticing to be a key, if you want to call Nick, whatever, but a key cross anyway, was Nyquist over anything AP Indy, whether it was AP Indy himself, Bernardini, whatever. And here again, we have that cross with this filly being out of an AP Indy mare. Now, she's trained by Brad Cox. You have Florent Giroux back aboard. He was aboard for her debut score. What do you make of this filly? It's kind of hard to gauge, right? Because as you were saying, this is an undulating turf course. Not every horse is going to like it necessarily. And that goes to even speaking about horses with experience, let alone inexperienced 2-year-olds. So can you gauge a lot from this? What, as a handicapper, how do you go forward?
It's difficult. That was only the 2nd start of her career, right? So
yes.
the thing that I like that you already went over a little bit in the pedigree is that I know both her starts have been on turf, and it's like, why take her off when you win like that in a $500,000 event? But there's dirt pedigree. Obviously, there's pedigree to try whatever. Right. I mean, yeah. You said Game Face. I remember her. She was a dirt horse. She was really good. Obviously Nyquist. So it seems to me like they have options, which is always nice with a talented, lightly raised horse. You know, the one thing about Kentucky Downs that I think, since it's tough to gauge like how the course plays there because they run 6 days a year, so it's difficult. But people think kind of because it has that European style that it always favors closers. That's not true. I think last year was all about speed. I thought I heard Gabby mention on the air because she was there for every race that speed was doing well. I remember her saying that when I was at Monmouth going into the racing yesterday. So there can still be a trend where front runners do well. She won that race by a mile, and it looked to me like they were just geared down, not even trying. And whoever the runner-up was a million in front of third. So it seemed like a pretty strung out group. I took the chart away from me, which you were nice enough to send me, because I need to give TVG a plug, because tomorrow at Kentucky Downs, the TVG 2 $400,000 event, race number 8 at a mile 70, and then the TVG $400,000 event, race 9. So Kentucky Downs back in action tomorrow, sponsored by a couple of big races sponsored by TVG. But back to that filly, I don't really know who she beat, but she did it effortlessly, right? She did it impressively. And with that pedigree, you have options. And to win at a mile, that is a stamina, obviously, type turf course. That's a great endurance test.
Yeah, for sure.
For a filly just making the second start of her career. And you know how I love cliches. She passed that test, with flying colors.
Yes, indeed. And, again, I really do love the consistency that you see with this precociousness that you get from horse, because that's sire line. Nyquist, as I already mentioned, he wins the 2015 Juvenile. He goes on to win the Derby. But don't forget, Nyquist himself, his son, Uncle Mo, who won the Juvenile in 2010. So you've got that grade 1 precociousness. And on the bottom side, again, I just love that you've got the AP Indy influence, the stamina that he imparts.
You can see it.
Yes. No, absolutely. Okay. So also at Kentucky Downs, we had the Kentucky Downs Juvenile Mile Stakes. Now, this was won by Tiz the Bomb. Tiz the Bomb, son of Hit It a Bomb, who won the 2015 Breeders' Cup Juvenile Turf. And then out of Tiz the Key by Tiz Now, our only Breeders' Cup 2-time classic champion. Now this horse, the interesting thing is that this was his first, despite that, being by a juvenile turf champ, this was his first start on the turf, because if you look, he debuted at Churchill Downs, sprinting 5, draw a line through it. Then they wanted to put him on the grass. It came off, but he won anyway. And by 14 1/4 lengths, it looks like.
Yeah.
So very impressive there. Granted, it was a 6-horse field, but still. And now he really got to strut his stuff on the green. Beyer came back at 73, final time 135 and 83 100, so 135 and 4. And so let's go ahead and take a look back at this race. Again, the Kentucky Downs Juvenile Mile. He's trained by Kenny McPeak. You got Brian Hernandez aboard, and Phoenix Thoroughbred is your owner. Let's go ahead and share my screen, and you can give a real-time reaction as you watch this race. Take us through it. Again, though, I do tell you this is not the full race. Let's see here.
Well, it is.
Oh, it is the full race. Never mind. I didn't think it was going to be. Okay. Sorry, Larry. I'm going to take your volume down just a tad so we can get reaction.
I had dinner with Larry a couple weeks ago.
I know. You're like a high roller.
Yeah.
Jet set lifestyle.
Oh, Jeremy Rosen paid.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
Running on the lead right alongside of No Balls, and then it's Long Shadow away running in third behind them. Colby Gusto broke 4th. It is down on the inside, being followed by Tiz the Bomb on the far outside, and moving in between horses there is On Thin Ice. Kiss the Sky is down toward the inside, followed by Red Run. Break of another 2 lengths more back to the 2 trailers, who are Fan the Fire and Rumble Strip Run. So less than 6 furlongs to go here. They make their way into that downhill run, and they're led by Long Shadow. Long Shadow has now lost the lead, and on the inside it's Colby Gusto, who is right there with Play Action Pass, stride for stride up front. Then it's Long Shadow running in third, 2.5 lengths off of them. No Balls 4th on the outside. Break of another 5 lengths more, and beginning to move is On Thin Ice, And right alongside, Tis the Bomb as they make their way around the turn with about 3 furlongs left here. Now Play Action Pass has grabbed the front as they come toward the top of the stretch and opens up the lead by a length and a half. Call Me Gusto on the inside second. No Balls is third and moving on the outside as they make their way to the top of the stretch.
Okay.
Long Shadow is after that. Then comes On Thin Ice. And on the extreme outside, it is Kiss the Sky. So they've got 3/16 of a mile to run here. Play Action Pass is the one to catch. And now moving on the outside, here comes Kiss the Sky. No Balls in between those two. And coming up the fence is Tis the Bomb. And they're coming to the wire. And it will be a photo finish. And it's Tis the Bomb to beat Kiss the Sky. And then it was Play Action Pass and Red Ron.
Some interesting names in there. Kiss the Sky, Jimi Hendrix reference. So what did you think?
So this race was what, about an hour after the race, the Juvenile Phillies race we just showed. They went faster. I mean, the males went faster here, and it's only one tick, but it's, they went 35 and 83 100. So 80, 35 and 4 technically, but almost 35 and 3. Whereas the Phillies turn her loose 36 and 19 100s. Right. Almost 136 and 1, but technically 136. But Turner Loose wasn't trying at all. So I thought she was more impressive just because Tis the Bomb went quicker, but needed to go quicker. I think if they were both all out, the Philly would have been the time would have been faster. And that was a perfect trip, wasn't it? I mean, nothing against the horse. I mean, you can't get a better trip than that, can you? I mean, everything just, to be able to have that type of a lane closing on the rail, on the grass, that doesn't happen too often. That sort of tells you about that turf course. And I think it also tells you about sort of the fatigue that took place with others in that race. And the only other two horses that were finishing okay, the second and third place finishers, Kiss the Sky and Play Action Pass, would look like a cinch, middle part of that race. They were kind of tiring. They were drifting out, the center to the outside part of the course. So it was a perfect ride in that race from Hernandez. But I thought the trip was perfect, and the top two were a little fatigued.
Well, the interesting thing about this horse also, just going to the pedigree perspective of it and the fact that, as we just had Jesus say, won by 14 lengths on dirt and then comes back and wins on grass. It is a super versatile pedigree. I already went over the fact that he's by Tis the Bomb, who again was your 2015 Juvenile Turf champ, then out of a Tis Now mare. Tis Now, the only horse to have won the Classic twice. Not only that, we take it even beyond there, okay? This horse's grandmother is a daughter of A.P. Indy, who we already established Hall of Famer, Breeders' Cup Classic champion. But not only that, but this colt's female family itself is responsible for producing A.P. Indy. So I think that's really interesting, because then that family, obviously includes his half brother Summer Squall. You've also got Wolfhound in there, Raja Baba. It's a very deep.
Well, that's speed there.
Wolfhound. Did I mention? I think I already said Wolfhound, but
yeah.
And Lemon Drop Kid. So it's a super deep family that this colt comes to the table with.
Bunch of everything there, huh? Dirt, turf, routing,
stamina. Yeah, and yes, that as well. So it's very versatile, and so it'll be interesting what they decide to do next going forward. Now, I just want to acknowledge some other posters here. Lucy says, "Good evening, Lucy."
Hi, Lucy.
Yes. Let's see here. Wayne, I know Matt likes a future wager. Bet he needs to back Point Lonsdale for the English Derby before he wins on Saturday at 8-1 in England, and in Spiral before she wins on Thursday. Okay.
I'm really not a big future wager guy, so I don't know where Wayne got that. I know some people.
Maybe he just assumes that you're, that maybe you can.
But I like the tip. I like the, I'll take some information. Usually, it's just betting sports is when if I make a future bet. I don't know. I've only done it a couple of times with horses. I think I did it with you when we were in Vegas a couple of years ago.
Yeah, that's right. Was that the Vegas trip I treated you to?
Yes. Yeah, it was a big birthday. It was my 30th. Yep.
Yeah. 30th. So great pedigree there. Really interesting prospect. Again, that was Tis the Bomb for Kenny McPeak and with BJ Hernandez aboard. Now, moving on, let's talk about the Run Happy Del Mar Futurity Grade 1 race, 7 furlongs on the dirt. In this instance, we did not have a horse sired by a Breeders' Cup champion. However, Twirling Candy, like Gun Runner, a son of Candy Ride. So that's pretty cool right there. This colt, Pinehurst, he is out of a Giant's Causeway mare named Giant Win. Giant's Causeway was second to Tis Now in the 2000 edition of the Breeders' Cup Classic. That was his only start on the dirt. So no shame in running second to Tis Now in that scenario. The other thing that's interesting about the pedigree here is the mother is a full sister to First Passage, who won the Grade 3 Azalea. The grandmother, multiple stakes winner, Wins Fair Lady, full sister to Arkansas Derby winner and sire, Graham Hall. You remember that horse, right?
I do.
And so it's also the family.
Very solid horse.
Yeah, so that means it's also the family of Harmony Lodge, who won the Grade 1 Ballerina, and another Arkansas Derby winner in Magnum Moon. So Pinehurst.
That was a Pletcher. He freaked in that race. It was like his third start or something. I'm right. Yeah.
So Pinehurst, he sold for 6 figures. Okay, won his debut, put up an 86 buyer figure, doing it there at Del Mar, sprinting 5 furlongs under Mike Smith. Smithy was back aboard for the Del Mar Futurity, and let's take a look at what happened and what you think of the performance itself.
Well, I mean, I hate stating the obvious. So it's just like, kind of like how I was kidding around with Kentucky Downs. Everyone says undulating turf course. If I don't have to hear anybody talk about the other Baffert horse winning ever again, I'll be okay the rest of my life. But it did happen here, right? Because everyone was betting Murray. So yeah. Murray's the horse with the Starlight Silks, right? In third, right, a 3-5 for Murray, and the other Baffert's 4-1 in this spot. Pinehurst, it wasn't the greatest of trips for Murray, but no excuse. I will say this, that the horse looked. I mean, you can kind of say, well, that he had an easy lead. Well, you go 44-3 for the half, going 7 furlongs. I mean, the horse had to work a little bit, but did it pretty easily within himself with Mike to get the lead in this race. I did think, I was working at Monmouth, so I was kind of multitasking, and Saratoga was harder to follow for me because it's the same time zone. Del Mar is a little easier because you have a cocktail after the races, and you're paying attention to Del Mar just getting going with the time change. Mm-hmm. I did think, again, I have not poured over the charts. It looked like, we'll get to Saratoga in a minute, but speed was good.
Yeah.
At both these places. And no excuse really. I didn't think for Murray, who ends up running second to last in this race. It's a good win for Pinehurst. I don't think the figure, you gave me a bunch of, meticulous notes. I don't think the buyer came back strong, but it's another one where it's tough to gauge because he did it so easily.
I want to take it back because I have somebody chiming in saying that the one, and that's Papa Cap, who was looking to become Gun Runner's 3rd Grade 1 winner on the weekend. Stuart says that he thinks he had a bad trip. So let's take it back and let's get your impression here.
I'm sorry, what number? He's the
1.
He just steadied pretty badly. That wasn't anything terrible. We'll see what happens after that. That's the extent of it.
Sorry, that's our daughter in the background, everybody.
Yeah, look, a lot of young horses, you can tell he's not overly crazy about being to the inside of horses, right? He's not nuts about being in position.
It kind of looks to me like he wants to go. You see Joe Bravo sort of water skiing there in the irons a bit, trying to get him to calm down because there's not an opening.
Lost position.
Right, loses position a bit here. He didn't want to burn him up on the front end, it looks to me, and the horse just wanted to go. So, I mean, it's a tough spot. I don't envy the jockeys having to make these decisions as to,
a little contact there. I mean, he's never beaten the winner.
No.
I mean, he's never beating them. I mean, yeah, he didn't like the rail. He steadied a little bit early, but he corrected himself pretty quickly. I don't know. This isn't. If you like the horse, you like the horse. I thought the winner looked pretty good, and everyone else looked pretty ordinary.
Okay, well, that was Pinehurst for Bob Bappert, Mike Smith in the irons, SF Racing, Starlight Racing, that whole crew, the long crew, they always come up with great names. The Avengers, they always have these great names for their horses, right? Okay, so that was the Del Mar Futurity. Now let's keep things at
Dafford's won that race like 58 times or something. Now, dude,
right?
No, it was like, I mean, I don't even. Was his 14th, 15th? It was something like that.
I stopped taking note of stats like that because it's just like at some point you just know this is a grade one, a consistently grade one winning type trainer. So do we really need to know how many times they've won a particular race?
But that race in particular, it's unreal.
I can look it up as we show another week.
Don't worry about it.
Okay, so now I don't think I mentioned the buyer for that came back at 79. The final time 123 and 55 100ths for those who want it down to the hundredth. So let's take a look now at the Del Mar Juvenile Turf. And here again, we have a Breeders' Cup champion as your sire. The winner was Mckinnon, your sire, the first horse to have ever win the Triple Crown in 37 years, the first Triple Crown winner to have an opportunity to run in a Breeders' Cup race. And actually, he got the job done in winning the Classic. And I am talking about American Pharoah, inducted into the Hall of Fame, first ballot, as he should be. No surprise there. Now, speaking of buyers, I will say the buyer for this race did not come back strong. Comes back as 63. Final time 136 and 24 100, so 136 and 1. But that being said, I think there's still obviously, upside. I think this horse right now, I'm just looking at the pedigree more closely. American Pharoah, again, your sire. Damn here, Scat means go by Scat Daddy. The interesting thing I always like about Scat Daddy too is, in talking about, this great sire line that he has, because, Scat Daddy, remember his sire is Johannesburg.
Yeah.
So we get so much versatility from Scat Daddy, turf, dirt. And it's too bad, obviously, we lost Scat Daddy. Well, how many years has it been now? 2-3 years? But it's been
a couple years. Yeah. I don't think 3 years yet. I think maybe 2.
Okay. Well, the thing about Johannesburg that you should also remember is you get the precociousness through this sire line. And it's actually a sire line that goes to Stormcat because Johannesburg is by Hennessy. Hennessy is by Stormcat. Stormcat was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile of 1985. Paso got him. So in any case, going back to talking about Johannesburg, he was undefeated at 2 years old. In fact, they brought him over here for his final start for that 2-year-old campaign to run in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile on dirt, his first start on dirt, and he won. So he was champion 2-year-old on both sides of the pond. And so, again, you get such great precociousness and versatility through this sire line, and again, the dam here being by Scat Daddy. So let's go ahead, take a look here at Mckinnon winning the Del Mar Juvenile Turf. It is a mile race. And again, we're talking about 2-year-olds here. So,
and of course, the horse I liked was 34 Coop, who ran second at 25-1.
Placement.
He doesn't break well either. Watch the break for the 7 here. Hops to start, rushes up.
Damn.
Yep, there you go. You hop at the start, you rush up, and 25-1 still gets the lead. And the reason I like the 7 is I know we're talking about Mckinnon in this race, who gets a really nice trip, is that sort of like I think the main track at Saratoga and Del Mar.
Yeah.
The turf course the turf course really firm, as you can look at it towards the end of the meeting. I know it's not a long meeting, but it doesn't rain in Southern California and it gets warm this time of year. Yeah, that was very front running favoring on the grass also. So that's one reason why I like the horse in the lead here. I figured to get the lead. I couldn't anticipate him hopping at the start, but there's Mckinnon right now coming up on the inside, right? Is that, or he's to the
5 horse.
He's
He's
the
on the
outside. He's
of the
outside. Yeah, he's to the outside of the 9-1 shot. Actually, I have the yesterday's form with me. So, I mean, this is what 4th start of his career, 2nd time routing. Boys Hernandez had a good meeting too at Del Mar. I mean, he has the horse in a drive at this point. It's not like he's without trying getting to these horses, but it's a young horse. You might have to wake him up a little bit. And he also, believe me, he knows the way this course is playing too. You can't let horses in front of you get away at this point.
I like how he extends here.
Silver Surfer had some issues there, right? The first time U.S. horse for D'Amato.
Yeah.
I like the way that horse finished. But, yeah, he looked good at the end, and it looked like he needed some cues. He's still learning what he's doing. Mm-hmm. But once him and Hernandez became on terms together, I thought he responded well. And if you're into the way a horse looks after the race and the gallop out, he looks really, really good, doesn't he? Galloping out.
Very happy. This looks like a very happy horse. So JJ Hernandez aboard, Doug O'Neill, your trainer, ERJ Racing. And you know what? It's a little blurred out, so I can't see who the other half of the partnership is. So I'm so sorry. It looks like it says Kenway.
I have the form. Let me go back.
Yeah, who's the other half of the ownership there? Because I don't want to leave them out.
Survey says. Yeah, ERJ Racing LLC or Kenny.
Oh, okay. Well.
Or Kenny.
Okay. Well.
So, and of course, with the Breeders' Cup being at Del Mar, these races with these horses that had success at Del Mar, it gives them a little bit of an edge, obviously.
They like it, and let's see. Doug waited until the last day to win some races at Del Mar.
It wasn't his strongest. I mean, he was under 10%, I think, most of the meeting. But, Doug's elite. He has elite horses, and he also, sent out a lot of horses, too. It's tough to win at a high percentage at Del Mar when you have the volume of O'Neill. I know some guys can do it. I know Miller does it and some other people, but it's not easy.
Now, let's talk about a race that you were actually on site for. And that is the Sorority Stakes. And it's a mile race on the dirt for 2-year-old fillies. The winner, run up by Run Happy, who won the 2015 Breeders' Cup Sprint and was your Eclipse Champion sprinter. Beyer came back a 71 for this race. The final time, 139 and 32 100ths. But I'm really actually pretty excited about this filly's pedigree because not only is she by a champion like Run Happy, who, by the way, not only, Run Happy would be just supremely talented, but he's a beautiful horse. It's a nice round looking animal. And so I was really excited about what he might do as a sire. Stands there at Claiborne Farm. And we know we've seen all the signage and everything. And hoping that you kind of like stamp your name on something. I mean, we already talked about the Run Happy. What was the sponsorship? The Run Happy Del Mar Futurity, right?
Right.
But we're really seeing the horses start to show their quality. This filly in particular, her mother up the street by Street Cry. And I should also mention, not only is she by Run Happy, who was campaigned by Mattress Mac, who we love. I mean, talk about a wonderful, wonderful human being. there are no superlatives.
The ultimate philanthropist.
Oh my gosh, for everything that he's done, not only for
so charitable,
sponsoring things within our own sport, but what he does for humanity itself. We've seen what he's trying to do, step in and help when we've seen, these awful, the awful destruction from hurricanes down there in the South, and he's just a fabulous human being, period. So not only did he campaign Run Happy, but he actually bred this filly. And so trained by Laura Wallers, out of Up the Street by Street Cry. Street Cry himself was a third in the 2000 edition, I believe it was, of the Breeders' Cup Juvenile. He went on to be obviously a tremendous racehorse, won the Dubai World Cup. It's been a great
trifecta. It was Macho Uno, Point Given, Street Cry.
Love it. All right, well, there you go. And then, Matt, wait till I drop some pedigree knowledge about this filly beyond that, okay? So I already went over the Street Cry angle, right? The grandmother here of this filly, the run-up's grandmother, Millionaire Imperial Gesture. She won the Beldame, she won the Gazelle. She was also second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies, and then she was third in the Distaff. Now, in addition to producing Imperial Gesture, run-up's great-grandmother, Honor and Offer, is also the dam of 1994's Kentucky Oaks winner, Sardula. Yes, and Sardula was second in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies. So, yeah, and the family also includes Grade 1 winner Divine Park. You probably remember him best as being the sire of the great Lady Eli. She was a Grade 1 winner from 2 to 5 years old, and she got that Grade 1 win in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile Phillies turf. So it is a precocious Grade 1, and I'll use the word that we've been using with some of these other horses, versatile family. So let's go ahead and we're going to take a look at her. And I'm talking about Run Up.
One thing here, let's just go to the race, and I guess shockingly, Brad Thomas picked her. I didn't even know that because I was working, but I was talking with Frank Mermati, who we're both good friends with, and I hung out with Frank a lot when I was in Jersey the last 2 weeks, and he said that part of Brad's angle was because Brad is. I mean, there's nobody more meticulous, and I mean, I think I do my homework, you do your homework. Brad puts all of us. I mean, he's at a level that's crazy. He said that she was just bigger and stronger looking than the rest of the field going in, because he watched probably every race that these horses have run. He watched whatever it was, 12 races. He watched them all probably 17 times. And so he just thought she was a bigger, stronger looking filly. So I didn't hear that till afterwards. And I've not seen this race since I've seen it live. So I'm curious to see if physically she kind of stands out as we watch.
Well, I think that, before we watch the race, I'll also say, I feel like that makes a lot of sense, because one of the things that we were seeing is, Run Happy may have not been throwing out like right out the jump, right? But his 3-year-olds were really doing quite well. And additionally, she's out of, again, a Street Cry mare. And Street Cry himself was a pretty big horse. So, I mean, just think of, his daughter Zenyatta and, Weeks is, but the fact that maybe she needed a few starts to really get into this type of condition where she could win a stakes race. Because again, I mean, we did see that she debuted against state bred competition at Colonial, sprinting 5 on the turf. She ended up running 3rd, beaten 10 that day. Then in start 2, they moved her to the main track, and that was in a main 40 race. But she did take them from start to finish to win by 6 1/4. So, I think that as we get more ground, even though Run Happy was a champion sprinter, I think, the fact that this was a mile, it suited her quite well. So let's go ahead and we'll watch the race, and you can give your impressions.
And at Monmouth, being there 7 days in a row for live racing, I thought actually for the most part, speed wasn't very good. So, and how about good for this kid too, Joseph Ramos? Basically goes to the lead here. The 6 between horses. I mean, end up going at 14-1, second biggest price on the board. The race is pretty much over right now. I mean, she establishes an easy lead. The tempo, what was it, 47? I don't have it. 47 for the half or something, if I remember. 47.3. They were going
slow.
I mean, you get a lead like that, You're not even trying that hard. You're 3 in front, and you're going 47-3. Usually, to have this type of lead this early on in a race, you got to go quicker than 47-3. So, can you see anything about her physically?
Yeah, she looks beautiful. She's got quite the hindquarters on her. She looks in beautiful condition. And this looks like she's just working out, to be honest with you. I mean, you can see just that Ramos he's just in the saddle. He hasn't moved his hands. He's tail up. Usually I use the other word, but tail up. He's crouching down as they're coming to him. But as you said, she got to breathe so easy on the front end.
Yeah, it's over.
All down the backstretch that she has so much left to finish with.
So, but good for Joseph Ramos. He's a kid who rides at Indiana Grand. Nothing wrong with Indiana Grand. They have good persons. They have good riders there. But still, it's still kind of cool for a rider like this. This is a $200,000 event. From Mattress Mac.
Let me ask you, from the perspective, especially with these young horses, and the fact that we don't have to get into the politics of it all or anything like that, but do you feel like any of with the crop rules being what they are, do you think we may have seen a different complexion pace wise otherwise?
God, you're right.
It's all right. I mean,
it's such a hypothetical. It's such a we'll never know. I don't think so, but I don't know for sure. I mean, I think doesn't mean you know more about this than me. I mean, I think that usually comes into play in the latter stages of the race, right? Not the not the earlier stages of the race. So I don't think so. I just think she's bigger, stronger, faster than that field at this point. And you had shippers coming in, for Amos and for was it Asmussen? Yeah, Asmussen with Gimmick. Big name connections, and Laura Wohlers. There you go, Mattress Mac and Joseph Ramos off a maiden 40 at Pimlico, just crushed them. So she looked good, and once again, the track was not favoring speed, but when you get that easy of a lead going 47-3, you're going to be tough to get by. And I think they could have probably won that race by more than 3, really, if Ramos would have shaken that horse up a little bit earlier, but there was no need to.
Right. And, the other thing to take in mind is she was an April foal. So we start seeing these babies be born generally in January. And so the fact that she was born in April, maybe it's just with the added time. Now we're later in the season, she's getting more ground. She's by, a mare, or she's out of a mare who's by a big stud like Street Cry. Maybe the little bit of extra maturation is really something that's helping her to blossom into her best self. So again, that is Run Up by Run Happy out of Up the Street by Street Cry, hailing from the female family that includes Imperial Gesture and Sardula and Divine Park. And I already mentioned Divine Park being the sire of Lady Eli. Stuart says, loved Lady Eli, big girl. Yeah, I know. Lady Eli's awesome. Although notorious for her temper. Notorious. They used to have an orange cone in the shed row in front of her stall, so you didn't get attacked. Like there was space. Right. Reminded you keep space going around. Remember when we went to the backside and we actually saw Lady Eli back there?
I do. I do remember that.
And it took a little coaxing to get a good photo of her with her ears up, because I was doing social media at the time. It was again a little bit to do to get those ears up, but what a tremendously talented horse.
Then she almost died, right, and came back again. I mean,
yes, she got laminitis. She had stepped on a tack or something on the backside.
Right, some fluky thing.
And Cherie DeVoe, who was assistant trainer to Chad Brown at the time, I mean, she was instrumental in getting her nursed back to health. So, it's great to see Cherie herself go on with that type of dedication and horsemanship that she's having success in her own career as a trainer with her own barn now too. Okay, now I know there was another race run at Monmouth, but I'm going to stick to the order in which I have this. So let's talk about the Grade 1 hopeful. And as I told you already, okay, so Gun Runner, this is his freshman crop. Yeah, Ava's excited about Gun Runner too. So not only is this his freshman crop, but how cool is it that he gets 2 Grade 1 wins, his first Grade 1 winners, but both on the same weekend, okay? Because prior to Gunite winning the Grade 1 hopeful, Echo Zulu won the Grade 1 spin-away, both there at Saratoga. But let's talk about Gunite first. The hopeful, 7 furlongs. Again, 2-year-olds. Bayer comes back an 83, her final time of 1:23 and 8/100ths. For Gunite, this was the 5th start of his career. He was coming in, well, let's just take it all the way back. His first 3 starts were at Churchill Downs. He was 3rd on debut. That was on a sloppy sealed track, sprinting 5. Then he was 2nd in start 2 on a fast track. There was a next out winner that finished behind him in Roger McQueen. Then they stretched him 6 furlongs, another main special weight, gets the job done there in a 12-horse field. Brigadier General, who was a regarded horse, or young horse, to keep your eye out on, was 2nd that day. Then August 14th, 6.5 furlongs, Saratoga Special, Grade 2 race. He runs 2nd, beaten 4 1/4 to High Oak, who he faced off with again here in the Hopeful Stakes. Trained by Steve Asmussen, owned by Winchell Thoroughbreds, who also bred him, and we know the Gun Runner connection. So let's go ahead and watch this race. I'll talk about the pedigree on the other side.
But also I actually watched this race with Frank Miramati, his girlfriend Jennifer, and then Jeremy Rosen and his son Nathan after the races yesterday. And the reason I'm saying that is because Jeremy's father Ed picked out Witt for Rapoli, and Witt was your 3 to 5 favorite in this race.
Yes,
and he walks out of the gate.
I know, you got to watch the start here. Yes, for sure.
The start was pretty bad for Witt.
And I thought
3 to 5. He's the 6 horse.
I thought Witt to get up for 2nd was that was all on hearts, all on heart. So let's go ahead and take a look at the grade.
That's a pivotal part of the race, right?
Oh, absolutely.
Right out of the blocks.
Yes.
He's 3 to 5.
Absolutely. So let's see here.
Yeah, he stumbled badly and he's dead last. And speed was very good at Saratoga. It was. Defend tries to get involved. That's the Cal Lynch horse, but he steadies a little bit. And here comes, this is a big move here.
Yes.
I mean, it's nice when the horse you can cruise by is the biggest price on the board, I think, in headline report. But still, that was a pretty nice move up the inside from Gunite. He got caught up in a speed duel in the race in which he lost to High Oak. Hey, believe me, I did not have him yesterday, and it was kind of one of the ones afterward. Because the way the track was playing, second time blinkers. I think blinkers helped this horse in his prior start. He just got caught up in a speed duel at 6.5 furlongs. This is over right now.
Yeah,
it's absolutely over at this point. And everyone else, whatever their price was at post time, depending on what their odds were, but subtract several points once the 3 to 5 favorite basically becomes eliminated.
Yeah.
At the start, you mentioned Witt put in a good performance to finish 2nd in this race, but just
look how covered in kickback he is. I would be curious to know how much they had to pull out of his nose when they got him back.
Like a muddy track. Yeah.
I mean, that's why I say that's all heart that he still did that, because take in mind, again, these are still young horses, and he was absolutely covered again in kickback. And you have to remember, these horses are breathing so deep when they're running that a lot of that can get back in the nose. So again, I'd be curious if they scoped him out after the race and, you know, had to clean him up a bit here. So again, that buyer came back in 83. Gun Knight, by again, Gun Runner, freshman crop representative. Now out of the mare, Simple Surprise rather, by Cowboy Cow. And here's the thing, okay? Mom, she won the Bolton Landing Stakes, okay? Gun Knight's grandmother, Simplify, is by AP Indy's Sun Pulpit, okay? Simplify, she was a stakes winner. She was third in the Grade 3 debutante at Churchill Downs. The other thing that's interesting that I do want to bring up is that, remember that, you know, Cowboy Cow. Well, how do I bring this? How do I make it interesting? You know what? I'll just say exactly what I said on social media. The interesting note about both Gun Knight and Echo Zulu, who we're going to watch her replay as well in this winning the Grade 1 Spinaway. Not only are they both by Gun Runner and, you know, representing him as his first Grade 1 winners, okay? But both of them are out of mares who are by Stormcat line studs. And so, for example, in Gun Knight's case, again, that mare is by Cowboy Cow. Well, remember, Cowboy Cow is by Giant's Causeway, and Giant's Causeway is by Stormcat. With Echo Zulu, who again, we're going to watch her replay as well, she is by Gun Runner. She's out of Menifee, who is by Harlan, who is by Stormcat. So this
you know where Menifee broke his maiden?
Tell me.
Monmouth Park.
Oh, there you go.
He was a beast. I mean, he was a freak. Elliot Walden, the trainer. Elliot Walden.
Elliot, one of the tallest men in racing. So it's like, but this is the thing, and this is important from a handicapping perspective. I mean, we can look at, obviously, you know, we can talk about precociousness. We can talk about this, that, you know, maybe a sire imparts, but there's, again, what we are looking for with lines that show affinity. And again, I mean, you can talk about Northern Dancer, Mr. Prospector, right? I mean, that's a proven cross that has historically worked, and that's why you see it in the, you know, further back generations, because obviously they've been, you know, gone for a long time now, of so many horses, a Northern Dancer over Mr. Prospector. But as I even mentioned earlier, you know, we're seeing that Nyquist has an affinity for anything AP Indy, right? We've seen AP Indy have success with Mr. Prospector. We're now seeing, I believe, enough evidence that Gun Runner over Stormcat is something you have to watch, because even going back to talking about Papa Cat, I mean, that horse was well meant there in the Run Happy Del Mar Futurity, right? And he was already coming in with good, you know, really good credentials. He was undefeated. Papa Cat, Gun Runner over a Stormcat line mare.
Okay.
So it's the same.
It makes sense.
It makes sense, because what you're getting is you're getting a repeat of Stormcat. You know what? Maybe let me do this really quickly. I'm gonna pull up Gun Knight's pedigree for you, and I'm gonna show it to you, because I think there may be a distinct reason that we may see such an affinity for this cross, you know, this cross producing, you know, what looks to be quality to watch. So let's see here. I'm gonna pull it up, and then I'm gonna share my screen. Let's see here. Pull up the correct tab for you.
They both went gate to wire too. Both the Gun Runners. So they're fast and they'll be able to carry their speed.
Yes. Now I'm sorry for the men's clothing that's being advertised there. Hey, up to 45% off. Okay. So as we see,
I sat next to that guy on my flight, by the way. Boy, the guy was this ripped guy. I sat next to him on my flight today. I just got home about 2 hours ago, folks.
You did. And so thank you for doing this for me. I do appreciate it. So, okay, as you see, there's Gun Runner, right? Now, what do we know is with Gun Runner himself? He's out of a mare by Giant's Causeway, and we already discussed the fact that Giant's Causeway is a son of Stormcat, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, so here's Gunite's mom, Simple Surprise, by Cowboy Cal, by Giant's Causeway. So you've got Giant's Causeway actually balanced there in the third generation, both sire and dam. And it's sex balanced too, meaning that you've got a daughter of Giant's Causeway represented in Quiet Giant, and you have a son of Giant's Causeway reflected there in Cowboy Cal, balancing each other. But that could be a whole discussion on its own. So I will keep this as layman as possible. But you do see, because of the double up of Giant's Causeway, that you've got Stormcat there represented. And I just think it's very interesting because, as I already discussed with you, we see that, with Echo Zulu being out of Let Go My Echo by Menifee by Harlan and Harlan by Stormcat, it's another situation where you've got a mare with the sire line coming in pedigree with that sire line.
You know who was a freak?
Who?
In that pedigree? One of the first, I was pretty young, but as you know, I was going to the track and my dad was booking my action at a young age.
Yes.
One of the first great horses I saw in person was Terlingua.
Oh, yes.
If you ever a chance, any of you, you youngsters out there, or even maybe people that are, East Coast people that didn't really, she was spectacular.
Well, I mean, let's see if I can still share this here. But also look, who is she by? Secretariat. Secretariat never, for whatever reason, I don't know if it's changed so much, but you always, Secretariat, he never reproduced himself. Well, what do you want from him? My gosh, he produced some really good horses. Lady's Secret, just one of the ones that I can think of just right off the top of my head. But not only that, his influence as a broodmare sire is phenomenal, because there you just see that he's the broodmare sire of Stormcat, okay? He's the broodmare sire of AP Indy, So it's and by the way, sorry, let's go back here. Remember, I mentioned to you the affinity for, between AP Indy over Mr. Prospector. Well, Pulpit right there is an example of that, because Pulpit's by AP Indy and Out of Preach by Mr. Prospector. So
Frank Brothers, Pulpit.
There you go. Let me go ahead and I will stop sharing the screen there. Now, since we've been talking about Echo Zulu, and by the way, I think I already mentioned this, trained by Steve Asmussen, however he wants to say it, with Gunite. And you had Ricardo Santana in the irons there. I love you too, Ava. Same connections teamed up here, jockey and trainer for Echo Zulu. Echo Zulu owned by L&N Racing and Winchell Thoroughbreds. And as I already mentioned to you, by Gunrunner out of Let Go My Echo, by Menifee. This filly herself is a half-sister to graded stakes winner J Boy's Echo. He won the Gotham. He was third in the Wither Stakes. She's also a half to Unbridled Outlaw, who was third in the Iroquois. Another half-sibling Dragic was third in the Futurity Stakes and the Kentucky Downs Juvenile. And then the mom here, Let Go My Echo, she won the Grade 2 Forward Gal. And as I already mentioned, daughter of Haskell, Bluegrass winner Menifee, who's sire Harlan, again, son of Stormcat. So let's go ahead and watch her win the Spinaway Stakes. This is just the second start of her career. She put up a 92 buyer on debut, sprinting 5.5 furlongs there at Saratoga. She won by 5.5 lengths. And so here she goes, stepping up into Grade 1 competition.
Oh, and you mentioned Cherie DeVoe.
Yes. Oh, her horse ran really well in here too.
Is it Terraby? Giant second. It went up like 17, 18 to 1.
Yes, it was huge. Let's see here. I'll take the volume down. I do love John Embriel's calls. I love him, but I need to take it down so I can hear you. Oh.
Yeah, so I mean, this horse is just fast. I mean, this is, and Asmussen obviously had some really good 2-year-olds at Saratoga. I mean, it's not like, Jackie's Warrior is that long ago, right? I mean, you go back and you think of some of the really good 2-year-olds. I know this is the spin away for Phillies, but she battled early.
I don't have this showing for some reason. Hold on a second. Sorry about that. I accidentally bumped something with my arm and I got locked out of my own screen.
Oh, okay.
There we go.
So
now, everybody, by the way, because you're gonna. Okay, hold on here.
And she just pours it on here.
Yeah.
At the end, and she's, it's one of those where she has the pedigree, she has the connection, she has the speed. I'm sure there's a 95% chance that whenever she gets tested, she'll pass that as well. That's the only question left for her right now, because the natural ability is incredible.
It doesn't even look like he got into her at all. I mean, like she won easily. That buyer came back a 90. The final time was 122 and 51 100ths. I know it was on different days, but the final time for Gunite was 123. I know different days and different weather also, but still. She did not. Sorry, I got my kid in the background.
Yeah, but and Terabee, 19-1, second in the race. So I mean that it was a dominant win for her, and the way she finished, she'd only raced once at 5.5 furlongs. So you're like, 7. That's a big difference, obviously, in the second start of her career to go 7 panels all of a sudden. So, everyone thought she'd win. She put up a gaudy buyer in her debut. She was bet down to 3-5 from an 8-5 morning line, and she crushed.
No, she did. And again, what a pedigree on that filly. I will also say, you know what? Going back to talking about Gunite, I do want to mention that Gunite has a full sister going through the ring at Keenelet September. That sale is going to be coming up here. It runs from, I believe let me just make sure I've got the correct dates coming up. It runs from September 13th through the 24th. It's got, a full sister to Gunite going through the ring. She's going to be hip number 539. So definitely bolstering the black type on that catalog page, right?
And TVG will a lot of hits and coverage of that sales coming up.
Yeah, for sure. Now, regarding Pretty Birdie, because I know that you see her kind of, just be walked across the finish line.
Eased across the wire.
Yeah. Norm Cassie, this is from Alicia Hughes. She had tweeted this a day ago. She said, per the Naira Notes team, Norm Cassie said Pretty Birdie, quote, just wasn't responding. So he, referring to Jockey Luis Saez, just wrapped up with her and took care of her. I watched her jog back and she's sound, and it doesn't look like.
Yeah, it's good.
Yeah. So
it wasn't her day, and she was a 3-5 favorite in Echo Zulu, and for whatever reason, it wasn't Pretty Birdie's day, and she was 7-2. So 7-2 eases, okay, which is great news. Your third choice was 8-1. So you had a heavy favorite, and then you had a heavy second choice that just didn't run.
Yeah.
So that made things even. That made Echo Zulu almost a 1-5 shot or so.
Ava is just having herself a time over there singing.
She got her singing from me, obviously.
Yeah, right. Oh, you know what? Although we haven't talked about her yet, so never mind. I did not skip. We're going to be talking about her next. But let's see if there was something else I did want to mention. Oh yeah, speaking of the Keeneland sale, the other thing I want to mention, talking about how important a sale this is, the Keeneland September sale. Both of our win and you're in victors this weekend with Max Player. I'm sorry, Ava's just cracking me up back there. With Max Player winning the Jockey Club Gold Cup, moved to the first time to Saratoga. He went through that sale, so he's a graduate. And then we also had Warlike Goddess winning the Flower Bowl Stakes. And she also a Keeneland September yearling. So it's a very important sale, one you want to keep your eye out on. You'd be able to watch it if you're not in Kentucky and you can't get to the actual sales grounds. You can watch it online. Just go to Keeneland.com. You can go through the catalog now if you'd like, because they put it all online. It's very easy. And you might be thinking, well, I'm not in the industry as buying horses or anything. I just like to watch the races and bet. Great. You should still look at the catalog, because this gives you an inside peek at some of the pedigrees you may want to keep tabs on, horses you may want to track before they make their debuts next year. And it's in a way getting you prepared to make that wager before somebody else does. So, I mean, I recommend it, even again, from a handicapping perspective, why you want to tune in or at least go through the catalog. And then you can go back, because they updated the website with who bought who for how much money, etc. So,
and it's just really cool.
Oh gosh, it's so cool. I love the sales. Okay, so now let's talk about a filly who actually sold at Fasig-Tipton Select Sale last year for $700,000. And this filly, Grace Adler, she wins the TVG Del Mar Debutante Grade 1 race, 7 furlongs for 2-year-old fillies. She got a 74 buyer. She stopped the clock in 123 and 76 100ths. She did this for Bob Baffert and Willow Grace Farm and Peterson under Flavian Pratt. And she is a daughter of Curlin. Curlin, not only a Breeders' Cup Classic champion, but a Hall of Famer. And as we already talked about, Steve Asmussen, trained by him. Let's go ahead, and unless you want to say something now.
I was going to say, I'm not sure if you've heard this before, but when Baffert has 2 in a race, the horse with the bigger price, higher price, is usually the direction to go.
Okay.
And in this race, he had Ida,
yes,
who was 6-5, and Grace Adler at 9-2. So the higher price Baffert uncoupled has always been a popular angle.
Okay. Well, here's another angle I should ask you. Do you think it's a better angle to talk about pedigree before I show the replay of a race and for it to stick in someone's mind, or do you think it's better to do it after?
After, I think.
Okay, so let's go ahead and let's watch this race. This is Grace Adler in the TVG Del Mar Debutante, picking up a Grade 1 win. Let's see here.
All set with the TVG Del Mar Debutante.
Can you curse on this show or not? Can you do?
It depends. Like, which word are we talking about? Like, there's varying degrees of expletives. If we're talking about like
the way I talk,
yeah. If we're talking about something that goes beyond like a S is fine. Stay away from Fs, I think.
Really? Wow, I didn't know. Okay, so I feel pretty good to say this is a hell of a middle move. This horse makes a big move here. This is a big move. I thought this was, right. Yeah, you might. Okay, so they're flying up front. They went 21-3, 44-1. And yeah, okay, you could say, oh, garden spot, perfect trip. This is still a big move.
Yeah.
Here it begins, right?
Yeah.
It begins, I don't know. I lost track of a half mile or something. And I love the way that she was able to sustain the move. This is Flavian Pratt from off the pace, and just get me. I'm gonna win. So I don't care if I go 5-6 wide. I love when riders are that confident. There's no reason to screw around and try to. It's over. That's a winning. Look at the way she finishes too.
Oh, I love the way she changed her lead. I love the
on
way.
cue.
Yes.
And the way she finishes, she sustained this move really well. That
was easy for her.
That was really, really nice.
Yes.
Was it blow a candle out? She was. She was even taking a deep breath at the end of that race.
And again, that is just the second start of her career.
Yeah, that was, yeah, fast up front helps. Yes, by yourself, but still the ability to make a move, middle move, and sustain it. She did not look like a 2-year-old filly making the second start of her career. Talent-wise, it's there. And then, as you mentioned, with the changing of the leads, that was a extremely
professional. Yes, that's the word. Absolutely professional. And again, we've already gone over the fact that she's by a tremendously talented racehorse in Curlin, standing there at Hillendale Farm. Let me see here. I still hear the welcome back, by the way, to Trevor Denman, going through that whole season there at Del Mar.
I thought he was watching the show.
Oh, yeah, that would be cool, right? Hey, right? No.
Trevor.
No. But here's the thing. Let's talk about her pedigree now a little bit, because not only
we said
yes,
Trevor was. I mean. Everyone has him, I think, top 5 all time. I mean, some people have 1, 2, but I think he's in everyone's top 5 list. If he's not on your top 5 list of all-time track announcers, something's wrong with you. But I thought he was great after missing a year. I thought he was great this summer.
Yes.
It's not a surprise, but I might drop off. You missed some time. Great.
No, yes, I agree. Now, not only is this filly Grace Adler by Curlin, okay, who's been a consistent source of quality, but she's a half-sister to a filly named Virginia Key, who's 3rd in the Grade 2 Gazelle. The mom here, R. Christie, Grade 3 winner, Grade 2 place. Her stakes wins include the Turn Back the Alarm, the Nellie Bly, etc. Mom is a half-sister to Grade 1 Whitney winner, Bulls Bay. You remember Bulls Bay?
What name?
Bulls Bay.
Oh yeah. Bulls Bay, absolutely.
Yes. Our Christie's mom, our Christie, who's the mom of Grace Adler, is a half sister to Bulls Bay.
No, he was a really, Bullsbay.
Yes.
Yeah, he was probably mile 16th, probably his best distance.
But he won the Whitney.
He did win the Whitney. Okay.
So the mom here, our Christie, again, as I just said, she's a half sister to Bulls Bay. She's also a daughter of multiple Grade 3 winner, multiple Grade 1 place, Newfoundland. Now, you might go, Newfoundland, I don't really recall that horse. But just recall, Newfoundland himself, son of Stormcat. Stormcat's getting a lot of love on this show, I got to say. Son of Stormcat and Newfoundland, half-brother to a hopeful winner in Strong Mandate, who went on to, be 3rd in the Breeders' Cup Juvenile of 2013.
Isn't that a giant dog in Newfoundland?
Yes, Newfoundland is a giant dog.
Yeah.
I don't. It's also. I like your little asides there. I mean, there's definitely some geographical context there, but
I think so.
if you want to go the dog route first,
I think so.
That's fine, because it's Newfoundland and Labrador and.
Mm-hmm. Yeah,
okay.
Towns are huge,
but they're actually places, Canadian province. But okay, I should also mention, because we're talking about the Keeneland sales, that there's a half brother to Grace Adler who's going to be going through the ring there at Keeneland September. This one being by Into Mischief. He's going to be hip number 99. So that's a really nice update for the family right there. Okay, now moving along. Let's take you back to Monmouth Park, Matt.
Okay.
Talking about the Sapling Stakes, a mile for 2-year-olds. Your winner, Double Thunder. Buyer comes back at 73. The final time was 138 and 76/100ths. This colt trained by Todd Pletcher, owned by Phoenix Thoroughbred. Paco Lopez was aboard. This was the 4th start of his career. He actually debuted at Monmouth, sprinting 4.5 back in June. Won at First Asking. Then they put him in the Bashford Manor there at Churchill Downs. Won that by open lengths under Johnny V. Then he was 4th in the Saratoga Special. But they put him here. Obviously, it's a better spot as they assess than putting him in the Hopeful. They're, keeping him at Saratoga. And he did not disappoint. We'll talk about the pedigree on the other side of this, but let's go ahead and watch the replay, and you can give your impressions.
And just while we're watching this race,
yeah,
it's a $200,000 race. It's still it's still a nice race, but it's lost its luster a little bit. Listen to some of these names as we watch this race. And Double Thunder's the rail horse, bet down to even money, I believe, with Pletcher. And there was a period where Lucas won like 10 of 12.
Yeah.
At least, how about Bet Twice in 86?
Oh, yeah.
Aladar, he was pretty good.
Yeah, I think so.
Foolish Pleasure, 1974. Carson City, 89. Tejano, 87. Gilded Time, Hennessy, one of the fastest horses you'll ever see. Smoke Glacken won this horse. He was freaky fast. Yes, it's true. Some big time horses have won this race over the years. And the thing, I'll admit, I did not like Double Thunder going into this race, working, being at the track, giving out selections. I thought he was vulnerable. As you know me, I don't like horses that have been really slow in sprint races, and all of a sudden now they're going to 2 turns for the first time. Boy, was I wrong, which was a fairly common theme over the weekend. But I mean, obviously bred to handle it. Right now, I think Paco is in kind of a drive with him.
Was this part of Paco's like giant winning day? I mean, how many?
Which one?
Right. Didn't he win like?
He won 7 the week before when I was there today, and then he won 6, I think, on. I don't think it was. This is Sunday. I think he might have won 6 on Saturday. But Paco's funny. I told you I ran him the week before, Frank and I, and here he comes on the center of the racetrack. This is Paco saying this, not me. He said, "Ava," he said, "Please, Ava, quiet, boys." He said, I don't look very good on a horse.
Oh.
He's like, I just really work, and I'm strong, and he's not a finesse guy. He talks about that.
Oh,
we're going to move this. I'll move it. I'll move the Monday racing for him. I'll move it.
Oh, you got in her space.
Yeah. I apologize for that. I know you want tomorrow's form. I know it's old news. So, from a pedigree standpoint, yes, you would think he wants one of the 2 turns, and I just didn't like his running style, but boy, was I wrong, and everyone else was right because he was even money for Phoenix Thoroughbreds. Yeah,
nice looking colt here, but I mean, all Todd Pletcher trainees generally are, right?
Yes.
So, as far as the pedigree here goes for Double Thunder, although I think I'll wait a second for Ava to chill. What was your impression of the racing that day in particular? If you recall, I mean, I know it was a bit of a whirlwind.
In terms of the way the track was playing, I thought the track was playing to his liking, closing. If I went back and looked at the races that day on dirt, because I have a decent memory for how horses won races. I think a lot of them were won by horses from, I think Ink was a little bit off the pace. You go through some of these maiden races. Allied Invasion earlier in the card, one from off the pace. So there were a lot of grass races on the day, but I thought the main track was.
Oh, wow. What does she want? She says she wants something. I don't know what she wants, but.
Yeah, I don't know either.
She wants chips. She wants corn chips.
Corn chips? We haven't had dinner yet.
You can get her some corn chips. I will.
We'll allow it because of the circumstance.
Yes, I will. I will show I will talk about this horse's pedigree while you go and grab her some corn chips.
Okay.
And you'll be able to hear me. You'll be able to hear me still, so you'll be able to rejoin the conversation.
I might have to eat some too.
Just fine. So we got to get Ava some corn chips right now because she's asking for them, and if she's being communicative and telling us exactly what she wants, why not give it to her, even though it might not be the most healthy thing, although corn chips are kind of harmless, right? But as far as the pedigree of Double Thunder goes, it's kind of fun because, as we already talked about, he is trained by Todd Pletcher, and you have a lot of Todd Pletcher's influence here in the pedigree mix, because this horse, Double Thunder, is a son of Super Saver, with whom he had won the Kentucky Derby. And then he is out of a mare who was a grade 3 place runner named Rat-a-Tat-Tap by Tappet. Okay. And so Rat-a-Tat-Tap is also a full sister to a stakes winner, grade 2 place runner named My Miss Tappet. That horse won the Game Face, was third in the Princess Rooney. Rat-a-Tat-Tap's also a full sister to All Wrap It Up, who was second in the grade 3 La Jolla. But this is what I find really, really interesting, is the family also includes the likes of Hall of Famer and Todd Pletcher trainee Shadow, whose wins include the 2004 Distaff. So
it was his first Breeders' Cup win.
Yes. So I think it's a lot of fun to just, I mean, right? When he looks at this horse and can see that he's, trained horses within the pedigree, it's got to feel even more rewarding when you win a stakes race.
Oh, yeah, absolutely.
Yeah,
sure. And you think about something that is an unbelievable memory that you have from 17 years before.
Yeah. So now moving on, we have a few more horses to talk about. I know it's a big, long show today, guys. Super size. And I know you're hungry. You flew back today. All I've had is a bagel with cream cheese and a few bites of your blueberry muffin that you brought.
Oh, I forgot about that. Me almonds and spinach feta wrap at about 8 a.m. Yeah. So.
Okay, so let's see here. So we talked about that. Now let's go back to Del Mar. Del Mar Juvenile Phillies turf for 2-year-old fillies, set at a mile. Your winner was Liam's Dove, trained by Peter Miller. You had Kyle Frey in the irons, owned by Gary Barber. This filly by 2015's Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and record setter Liam's Map. And then she's out of the Dove by Hawkwing. I'll talk more about the pedigree after we watch the replay. But this filly, she was making the third start of her career, just the second start on the turf. She debuted originally sprinting on the main track there at Del Mar, and she was a well-beaten 7th. I mean, 17.5 lengths back of your winner. They switched her to the grass in start 2, stretched her out to a mile, put up a 53 buyer in that second start, but she did take the field nearly all the way. She ended up having to settle for third, beating a length and a quarter. And here she, again, gets another try at the mile on grass, and she comes through. So let's go ahead and watch the replay.
Yeah, this is what I was talking about earlier. Speed was great over this turf course.
Oh.
So she's able to get
the. I have this one. Hold on a second. I'm going to try to pull it up. So you can talk about the race while I look for this here.
No, I mean, she went wire to wire. She got an easy lead, and it was a nice win, but I do think she was helped by not only the easy lead over this turf course, and it's been that way forever at Del Mar, as far as I'm concerned, even though they've had different types of turf courses, whether it's the Bermuda or whatever they've had there over the years, that closers do well early and speed does well late. It's been something that has occurred there for a long time, and they run a lot of grass races in a short period of time. So it does make sense. And I thought Speed was very good over this turf course. And I thought she took advantage of a bias a little bit, but give her credit for being faster than everybody and, being able to break on top. And, Kyle Frey, another very good young rider, and you utilize your strength as your speed with that outside draw. Get the lead, and if you can cross over, do it. And he was able to cross over, and then she turned pretty well. I think for a 2-year-old filly to have to break from the outside, move over. Sometimes they kind of come out again going into that turn. She did slightly, but did it very well. And look at that. I mean, you go 22-3 for the opening quarter, and you're 30 to 1. I think she went up at 34 to 1 going a mile. I mean, you know the way the course is playing because she's a nice filly, Ren, but
Yeah.
22 and 3, she shouldn't be able to go wire to wire going a mile.
Yeah. Well, going back to something you mentioned regarding Kyle Frey, let's not forget, he was he won an Eclipse as outstanding apprentice jockey back in 2011.
Right. Yeah. Yeah, exactly. That was 10 years ago when he's probably not even 30, right? So he still is. These guys start so young and, Northern California guy, but look, that look right there, he gave that confident look.
Yeah.
Like that peak, right under the, kind of between the underneath the armpit sort of. And this, but this kid can finish too.
Yeah.
Strong finish because this is Flavian Pratt coming at you late.
Yeah.
He wins everything. You're able to hold on and score, but she won the race out of the gate.
Yeah. That was Helen's Well in second there, coming on late, but denied ahead there in the Del Mar Juvenile Phillies turf. Now, as far as the pedigree goes, I already mentioned to you that this filly or winner, Liam's Dove, by 2015's Breeders' Cup Dirt Mile and record setter Liam's Map. Liam's Map, always remember, Liam's Map, by the way, at Lane's End Farm. But also half brother to another horse who's off to a fabulous start at stud. He's got his second crop rolling. That's not this time. Not this time, was second in the juvenile, the Classic Empire, and that was after a really bad start, as you'll recall.
This filly to go off at I think that she went off at 34 to 1. It says 30 there. Owned by the Barbers.
Yeah.
Who like to play a little. I mean, different ownership. She might have been 50, 60 to 1 in this race.
Well, you could tell she wanted it. I mean, she's got her ears back, determined to get to that wire. So I always love the close up right here with the Longines watch in the background. Boom. Okay, so. Already mentioned the sire power there. The mom, the Dove is the mother's name. She's a daughter of multiple Group 1 winner Hawkwing, and his wins include the National, the Coral Eclipse, the Judd Mott Locken. She's also second in the Epsom Derby, the 2000 Guineas. Female family, going back to, again, talking about when we talk about the female family, we're talking about what mom's family through her mom and so on and so forth, and then the branches that go off that, what they've produced. Well, they are responsible for producing Grade 1 winners like Yellow Agate, who won the Frisette, and I still have that playing in the background, sorry. And also Group 1 Dewhurst winner, Scenic. But most notably, this family is responsible for producing an ARC champion and a notable horse. You'll know this name, Rainbow Quest.
Yes.
So very, very, very nice pedigree there. So those are all the stakes winners from this weekend that are, I know we talked about two who weren't by Breeders' Cup champions themselves, but for the most part, right? Isn't that impressive?
Yeah. By the way, how is she? I mean, again, I did not pick her. I did not bet her. How is she 34 to 1?
I do
12 to 1 money line. She was 6 to 1 August 15th. Who did she lose to by a length and a quarter? Helen's Well, the Pratt horse who runs second, who's favored. So the favorite beat her by a length and a quarter August 15th. And 3 weeks later, they're 34 to 1 versus 3 to 1. That
doesn't make sense.
That course too, it was just played differently than it did August 15th. That's crazy that she went off at that price. I didn't.
Now you're mad. I can tell you're mad that you didn't.
No, this is what some 34 to 1 shots. You go back and go, ooh, this is a 34 to 1 shot. You go back and the morning line made sense. 12.
Yeah.
She should have paid $25, $26. Not 70, whatever she paid.
Yeah. Well, these are these opportunities that I agree with you. A lot of times you'll see a horse who's coming out of the same race as your favorite or another horse that happens to be short priced in the field, and they actually put in a respectable performance when in against them. And yet for some reason, there's just this huge disparity between their odds and the other horses.
Usually when you see that, it's a low profile connection. This is Peter Miller and Gary Barber. I mean, that's the other thing. That's
Yeah, right. No, for sure. I understand. Okay. We got to give some honorable mentions out. Okay. I'm actually going to, one of these honorable mentions is going to be, and we're going to watch the replay, is for a horse who put in a tremendous performance and is actually your 2-year-old with the highest buyer figure of all of them so far. And we're also going to talk about a horse who happens to not be a 2-year-old, but I can't resist because I want to mention something about their pedigree. Okay. So first up, let's give an honorable mention to a horse who cost $1.5 million, and that is Cornish. Okay, he just debuted for Bob Baffert. Mike Smith was in the irons. This is for owner Speedway Stables. This colt on debut puts up again the highest buyer of any 2-year-old so far this season, a 98. Okay, 98. He's by Quality Road out of Wasted Tears by Najran. And you know what? I have to say this too, because this horse won, I believe, on the 4th. My dad's birthday was the 5th. The mom being by a horse named Najran, which we remember him. But everybody called my dad Naj. So I already feel like a little bit of a connection to this horse and want to root for him simply because of that. My dad's birthday again was the 5th. And so, like I said, to have this horse win and then that day, just, I don't know, it felt pretty cool. But not only did this horse win, but he took him gate to wire, scores by 4 1/4 lengths, and puts up a 98 buyer figure doing it. So let's watch Cornish.
Najran, I believe, one of the fastest dirt mile performances ever. I want to say Zito trained him. He went like, it was, I think Dr. Fager or something at the old Washington Park.
He equaled his record, if I remember right.
Yeah, this is the very beginning of TVG, so it was probably like 99 or 2000.
Let me look before
I want to say, but anyway,
he equaled the record.
So anyway, we can roll it, and this horse is just freaky.
Have you seen this performance yet, Matt?
I have.
Oh, you have. I was hoping I was showing you something you hadn't seen. But maybe our viewers, maybe we have some viewers out there.
But you know what? I only saw I saw the stretch. I didn't see the break or anything.
He equaled Dr. Fager's world record for a mile in the 2003 Westchester Handicap. 8 furlongs in 1:32 and 1.
And I think it was the old Washington Park is where Dr. Fager had that record. But anyway, so Quality Road's your father, and Wasted Tears. I remember her. She was a Midwest grass horse who never lost, and then she came to Del Mar and she won the Maybe. Yeah. So she was a wire to wire distance grass horse. She set a new course record when she won the Ouija board, a mile in 1:32 and 81 100ths. Right. She was a Midwestern horse that like never lost. And then she came out and stepped up in class and crushed the best at Del Mar. And then on a cover of Medaglia d'Oro, she produced Coffee Crush, who stakes place. Is it Coffee Crush Bobby Flay horse? I believe so. Okay. And Quality Road, as we know, he's a record setter. He set a record there winning the Florida Derby, and then Dawn maybe. Yeah, he beat his own. Didn't he beat his own record when he won the Dawn? He loved Gulfstream, that horse. Yeah. Yes. So, and Quality Road stands at Lanes End Farm. He still has that beautiful forelock because that was one of the stipulations when he went to go stand there, that his forelock would not be touched. And he's already, by the way, Quality Road. I mean, he's already sired the likes of Abel Tasman, won the Oaks, Caledonia Road, won the Juvenile Phillies, etc. I mean, he's already produced so much quality, but Quality Road. And so let's go ahead now and watch Cornish here, winning first time out and putting up the top 2-year-old buyer of the season so far. Sorry, I actually took it out when I went to play it. Of a 98. Oh, so Bart Evans, he trained Wasted Tears. He bred this horse too, huh? Yeah. He was a trainer of Wasted Tears.
There you go.
Pretty sure. So that's kind of a cool connection also.
And away they go. Cornish flew out the outside gate and goes straight to the lead. Dancing Rink is very fast. Handy Dandy right there, third. Apprehend coming through at the rail. War at Seas in the black cap up alongside Breakfast Ride. Cover Me Up, trying to race a little awkwardly. Doesn't like that dirt in her face. On the far side, we have Conk Daddy. In behind that is Quality Wins. And last of all, Mr. Mason. Into the turn they go, and Cornish just gliding along on the lead.
This is a great stride, isn't it?
Sliding away now, opening up to lead by 3. Dancing Rink is second. Apprehend down at the rail. On the far side, we have Breakfast Ride. War at Sea is now 6 off the leaders. Then Quality Wins. They turn for home, and Cornish.
He's kind of like the run on eggshells type. I mean, it's really light.
Clear by 3 lengths.
Nice lead change.
Cornish in front now, starting to make a late run as Apprehend at the rail, but Cornish just gets the reins thrown.
Push him a little late.
Very impressive debut. Could not have been more impressive.
No, you're right, Trevor.
Mike Smith cantering.
He only did one thing. Everything else was just a hand ride or a knuckles. That's it. Like Mikey was just sitting chilly there. The fact that horse did this that easily is scary.
No, I mean I would, I'm guessing I'll never be in the position of having a horse that costs this much money debut at a place like Del Mar, but I would think that maybe Baffert's the exception because he's had so many of these, but even Bob potentially.
I'm sorry, not to cut you off, but
look
at how well is he pretty. Look how deep the girth is on him. Big chest. A beautifully balanced horse. Wow.
The thing I noticed also, he hit full stride so early on in the race. Do you know what I'm saying? It's like it's like a cheetah, like you're at top speed almost, like within 10 yards. And he was
winner number 10.
So that was. No, but I was just going to say that I'm thinking even Bob, this much hype, this kind of pedigree, this much money.
Breakfast Ride.
You're pretty sure, but you're never sure. Nothing's 100% cinch lock.
Right.
You're still probably a little nervous when you're 1-2 and you cost this much money before the debut, and then you perform like this. You're happy, but you're probably just more like, phew, okay, good. He's what we thought he was.
He looks every bit of that $1.5 million. Wow. Okay. Sure. Again, 98 buyer figure on debut. I mean, the record, I believe, is still
your McLean's.
McLean's Music. It was a 114.
Yeah, it sounds.
And we actually had a horse put up a 114 buyer in the second start of his career. And you know where I'm going with this, right?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. Hold on a second. Oh, hold on. I want to double check because I'm almost sure I'm right on that. So I've had to say it so many times because 114 buyer on debut from McLean's Music. Who, by the way, didn't Smithy ride him? Because that was the only start of his career. Wasn't Smith aboard his?
I don't remember. I'm gonna let me see here. I want to make. I'm almost sure he was aboard him as well. Hold on a second. I want to double check that, and then I'll get to this. But that horse that you liked, a lot of people liked, that Gesture Calls No Joy. That's a McLean's Music that won at Saratoga.
There you go.
On Saturday.
Let's see here. Yes, I was right. It was Mikey. Mikey for Steve Asmussen. I still can't get used to it. I can't get used to saying. I used to always say Asmussen, and now that I know it's Asmussen, it's just so hard for me.
He doesn't care. It doesn't matter.
Yeah, you're right. As long as you don't say it with an expletive, it's all good. Okay, so now let's talk about Flightline, because this horse, he put up a 114. I know that we saw Baby Yoda do 114 as well. But this horse for Flightline, trained by John Sadler, Flavor Pratt was aboard. You have the ownership group of Ronis Racing, West Point Thoroughbreds, Summer Wind, Equine, Sienna Farm, Woodford Racing. This was just the second start of his career, okay? And he left us with our jaws dropped. And so let's go ahead and let's watch Flightline here. Again, just the second start of his career, putting up a 114 buyer figure.
And the final time, I believe 108 flat. And I was on the air at Monmouth when Rich Perloff and Nick Stradamus went over this race back in the studio. And Nick Hines said something that obviously I didn't know what he was going to say, but I thought of when watching this race, and I guess others had. You know me, I'm not on social media a lot, but there were. I don't know if it's blasphemy, but people were. They thought this was a Ghost Zapper type of performance. It reminded them of Ghost Zapper, just with the unbelievable raw natural ability. So the thing that's he was able to rate. He's able to get the lead, and you'll see obviously at the end of this race, it's one of those performances that it doesn't look like he's going that quickly, right? It's like, we show workouts and you'll see it goes fast, but he's being scrubbed on a horse who's, stops the clock in 58 and 3. And look at this horse. The next thing you know, he's up 10. I mean, in the blink of an eye.
Well, the lead change. It was the lead change. Once he changed his lead, he's like, all right. It was like he just hit another gear again because he was refreshed.
And he's just geared down. The final time's 108. This is where times, and to get a 114 and to go 108 without really trying ever, and triple hammerlock the last, I don't know, maybe not quite at furlong, but close. What if they would have tried?
Yeah,
I mean, the final time been 7-2.
Yeah, I mean, just look at the sectionals. I mean, and here's the other thing: what do you do with this horse now? Because now he sprinted here. I mean, this is 6 furlongs.
Malibu, I think, is what they're running towards.
Right? Okay. Because here's the thing: he's by Tappet. Tappet's a great source of stamina. Why? Because Tappet's by Pulpit, Pulpit's by AP Indy. Tappet's already sired a couple Belmont winners. Belmont's a mile and a half. Not only that, but then the dam here, Feathered, she's a stakes winner. She won the Edgewood. She was second in the American Oaks, the Starlet, the Lake George. She was third in the Frazette. She's by Indian Charlie. Indian Charlie, wins the Santa Anita Derby, goes into the Kentucky Derby as your favorite, loses.
But the other Baffert won real quiet.
Yeah, the other Baffert, yes, real quiet.
It's the last Derby I cashed, I think.
But here's the other thing: the second dam, Receipt. She was stakes play. She was third in the Caveat Comforter. She's by Dynaformer. I mean, that's. I mean, you want some stamina. I mean, Dynaformer will certainly give it to you. Okay. The third dam, Finder's Fee. She's by Stormcat. Finder's Fee. She won the Grade 1 Acorn. She won the Grade 1 Matron. She won the Grade 2 Gallant Bloom. The Cicada. She also, I mean, you could just go through this pedigree. It's ridiculous. The fourth dam is Fantastic Find, okay, by Mr. Prospector. Grade 1 winner. She won the Hempstead. She won the Finley Stakes. She was second in the Ballerina. She's a half-sister to a Breeders' Cup champion in Dancing Spree, who did win the Breeders' Cup Sprint. So you do have the Breeders' Cup pedcred in there. Other big names in the pedigree include Optimizer, who set a new course record for a mile and an eighth, winning the Kent Stakes. Also won the Fairgrounds Handicap. Was second in the Woodford Reserve Turf Classic, Grade 1. So you've got all this great pedigree and
well, I don't know if I missed it, but Feathered was pretty good, right? The mother herself was
I already talked about.
Yeah, you did. Okay.
Yes, I talked about Feathered for sure. You just weren't paying attention.
No,
That's okay. I will forgive you. But
It took me forever to find the race. So I was looking through the Sunday Forum just to find. Yeah, 105 he got in his debut.
It's ridiculous, right? There's not been very many horses to put up a triple-digit buyer on debut. Pulpit was one, right?
Yeah, and I think Go Sapper might have also he might have broke his maiden at Monmouth. Maybe not.
I have to double. I'll double check. Ooh.
He won at Monmouth at Go Sapper, I'm pretty sure. 6 furlongs.
It was the 89. It was the 89 Breeders' Cup Sprint for Dancing Spray. Here, let me look up.
That sounds right.
Let me look up Go Sapper.
I think Dancing was I think he was a closing sprinter too.
The thing about Go Sapper, I mean, if this is a horse that's in it's similar talent as a horse like that. I mean, Go Sapper, he won the Classic. He set the record time for winning the Classic. Sub 2 minutes. It was like 1:59 and change. Right,
2, maybe 1, maybe at Lone Star.
But he could have gone in the dirt mile, and
he would have won the sprint.
He could have won the sprint. He would have won the sprint.
Absolutely.
Yeah, it's like that type of versatile speed that could stretch, and that's what makes horses.
He probably could have won every race. Who knows? I mean, Breeders' Cup Turf. I mean, right?
Right. You probably could have won any. Well, that's what they say, right? A great horse can win.
His Offspringer better grass.
Let's see here. I want to look up something. He debuted at Hollywood Park.
He ran at Monmouth, didn't he?
He won the Philip H. Island.
Okay.
At Monmouth.
So that's a mile and 1/8.
And that was ahead of winning the Woodward, and then he won the Breeders' Cup, and then he closed out his career winning the Met Mile. So, yeah, pretty cool there. Okay, hold on a second. We have some looking forward to Gun Night. Watch another one of Gun Runner's offspring run rampant in the Best Pal Stakes being Papa Cap. Yes, and we talked about Gun Night. We talked about Echo Zulu, also by Gun Runner. Both of them now Grade 1 winners. Their sires first Grade 1 winners. And Papa Cap, yes, the Best Pal. And all three of them, not only are they by Gun Runner, but they're out of mares who hail from Stormcat sires, so sire line. So that's something I think that going forward, when you're handicapping and you see a 2-year-old race of horses who have yet to start, and you're trying to see who might have a pedigree edge, if you see that, then I don't know how you resist it. Because again, Papa Cap, Gun Night, and Echo Zulu, all by Gun Runner and all by all out of mares who are by stallions that hail from Stormcat. So
I'm looking down a lot. It's all show related here. I'm doing stuff. A 2-year-old to keep your eye on that I'm curious about.
Yes.
I was at Monmouth yesterday.
Okay.
And the Colts Neck George Duarte runner, affable monarch.
Oh, the Arrogate firster. Yes.
That horse looked good. I'm looking at the chart right now. The margin was 6.5. 11-1 without over a track that was not that fast, closed on the rail, and it's a pretty special performance when the rider, in this case it was Tomas Mejia, he was pumping his fist at the wire, probably saying, "Please keep me on him, please keep me on Affable Monarch," because that horse looks like he is, a serious runner.
I want to look up. Hold on a second. Affable Monarch. By a Breeders' Cup Classic champion and Arrogate. It's so sad that he died so young. These are his first crop babies debuting. Arrogate was a big horse himself. So it's not surprising that we're only now starting to see some of his babies. In fact, we saw his first 2 winners within an hour of each other, I believe, because there was one who won, I think was it Saratoga with just a little bit earlier.
I remember you telling me that.
In the day. Wow, you want stamina. This Affable Monarch is by Arrogate. And then Out of Social Queen by Dynaformer. And we already went over Dynaformer. You get a lot of stamina because Dynaformer himself, son of Roberto. Social Queen, let me see here what she brings to the table from the pedigree perspective, because I did not see this race live. The horse.
She was a grass horse. She was a turf rider. I have my notes from the race. She won 6 races, made $344,000. 5 of the 6 were turf routes.
Oh, okay. Oh, what is that? Your computer getting?
Yeah, apparently.
Let me see something here though, because I'm trying to. Where's her? Hold on one moment, because I'm just. Talk about more of your impressions.
And it makes sense that, I mean, she's her father's Dynaformer, so it makes sense that she was a grass horse. So you have another horse that is not only bred for turf, dirt, anything. We know the horse can sprint. That was the only start yesterday at 6 furlongs. When your father's arrogant, your mother was a turf router whose father was Dynaformer, you would think he'd want more ground.
This is well, you want to know something funny? Okay, so I looked up the pedigree, right? So you mentioned Social Queen herself being a stakes winner and by Dynaformer. Her mom was a stakes winner by Ergen. Her mom was Gal on the Go, and Gal on the Go was not only a stakes winner, she won the Valedale Stakes. She was second in the Singapore Plate, which is a grade 3. Gal on the Go is then out of a horse named Gypsy, who was stakes placed. Gypsy was by Marfa. But this is the most interesting part of it. Gypsy.
That's Foolish Pleasure, I think.
Listen, hold on a second. Gypsy is a half sister to Perfect Drift.
Ooh.
Multi-millionaire Perfect Drift.
Ran the classic like 18 times.
Yeah, it's wow. That's a pedigree for you, for sure. See, isn't it fun when you go and you look and you try to find out, like you try to project what's going to happen in the future with these horses based on their pedigree. And yeah,
in that maiden special event, there was an Asmussen, there was a Pletcher, there was a very well met Kelly Breen, Claudia Gonzalez had a couple. It was a salty group, and the maiden special races at Monmouth are almost 60 dimes.
I want to see who the other. Hold on a second. Keep talking, because I want to see, and I know you can talk. I want to see if I can figure out who the other arrogant baby was that won, because I want to give him some love. Because
the thing I'll say also is I guess if you want me to fill for you a little bit about Affable Monarch, is if I'm trying to visualize the race in my mind, the horse closed on the rail. I mean, how often do you see horses? Most first-time stars, when they win, they do a gate to wire, right? Maybe they rate, and if they close, they don't close down the rail. This horse, this horse has some guts too to be able to pass horses down on the inside.
I might actually be able to. Let me see here. Let me see if I can find. I think I have Juarez. I do have it. Okay, hold on a second. Affable Monarch. Okay, I have video. Let's watch it. Hold on a second. Let's share this screen. Share the audio. We'll go to here. It's from Jorge's own Twitter page.
Yeah, it gets through on the rail.
And actually, before I start this, Claiborne Farm, Affable Monarch makes easy work of his debut and romps home a winner at Monmouth Park. The Colts Neck Stables homebred was born and raised at Claiborne. And his half-brother by Spicetown heads to book 1 at Keeneland Sales as HIP 154. Okay.
I'm curious to see if they have, because watch Tomas Mejia's reaction when he hits the wire. It's like he won the Dubai World Cup. I mean, I remember turning around and looking at my camera guy, Robert, my new best friend, going, Robert, look at Mejia. Look at this horse finish here.
Look at his front end. Oh,
watch Mejia. Watch Mejia at the wire if they show it.
I love it. It's like he just won the Dubai World Cup or something.
Right. Yeah. No, this was, he got through on the rail and some horses that had some pretty good pedigrees.
But Matt, look at the shoulder on this horse. Look at the shoulder on that horse. This is a pixelated replay, but you can still see how nice that shoulder is. Wow. What a nice horse. And it is so sad about, that Dubai World Cup performance of Arrogates is probably still one of the
Absolutely. Yeah, Kelly had a $600,000 tap it in the race. Pletcher had a Pioneer of the Nile. Whose mother, Lightsa Medina, lost to Black-Eyed Susan by a head. There was some pedigrees in that race.
Oh, yeah, for sure. And Arrogate, of course, won the 2016 Breeders' Cup Classic. And it's just really sad. It is, you know, but it is fun to see these horses debuting. And I did find the other one. So let me actually pull that horse up as well. I got to remember who. Actually, no, I don't have. The other horse is Adversity. That is the horse who won there at Saratoga. Just a little bit earlier on the day. Adversity, a filly. And she, let me see who her mom is, because you know me, I love looking up.
Yeah, I missed this race. I think it was kind of early in the program.
I don't.
When I was working.
I don't have that one to show you right now. So right now I'm just looking up. Oh my gosh, she's out of Artemis Agritera, Matt.
Oh, right.
I mean, you'll remember Artemis Agritera. She was
the late great Mike Hushin. She was phenomenal.
Yes. And I mean, she won the Gallant Bloom, the Ballerina, the Frisette. She was fast.
She's a great trainer, he was.
Yes. And she herself, hold on one second, because I want to look up something regarding Ava's being very good. I'm pleasantly surprised that she hasn't gotten mad that she hasn't gotten
Mike Hushin is good as anyone ever with a first-time starter, in my opinion.
Yeah. You know, Artemis Agritera herself, we already talked about how good she was. Her mom, Indy Glory by AP Indy, was a stakes winner in grade 2 place. She was second in the Black Eyed Susan. But also that Indy Glory, again, that's Artemis Agritera's mom. So that would be Adversity's grandmother, full sister to Stephen God Even.
Okay.
So, yeah. So, I mean, we know he won the Dawn. He won the
yeah, he was super.
Yeah. And
I mean, he went back, but yeah.
He won over $1 million.
Yeah. A long time ago.
Yeah, when you had to do it the hard way. So, I mean, wow. So going back to this question somebody asked, Wayne asked, "Hey, Ren, can I have Matt's opinions on the 1, 2, 3 juveniles he's been most impressed with so far? Thanks, you guys."
I don't know. It's not really.
People know what we're talking about.
I don't really have a list as of right now. I don't.
Well, out of all the performances we just took a look back on, I mean, it's hard not to be most impressed as far as the 2-year-olds go, even though it wasn't one of the races. It's hard not to be impressed most by Cornish, but
sure, right.
But we also do know, I mean, when horses aren't facing the toughest competition, they can run better races because they're not exerting themselves as much, and it's more well within themselves. They do it more joyfully, easily. That being said, I think you could have put him in right away to stakes competition, and he would have put in the same performance.
I mean, it's the one division where basically any other division outside of the juvenile divisions, at this stage, you pretty much know who these horses are. But in the juveniles, 2 months is such a long time, and there's obviously big races coming up that, we're still far away from the Breeders' Cup in terms of talking juveniles, whereas it's not the case in other divisions. So, I'm not avoiding the question. I don't think I have an intelligent answer to it at this stage.
Ava, ask her if she'll go on camera with you so we can say bye together.
Hey, you want to come over here so we can say goodbye? You want to come over and say goodbye?
Here. Who of the Phillies between Echo Zulu and Grace Adler, what did you make?
Daddy, Mama, Mommy.
Yes, baby.
It's hard to. We look at the bigger figure and everything. I like the way Grace Adler won. I love the way that I love that move she made.
She's wearing her sunglasses.
I don't even know what her figure was. I mean, it probably wasn't even that high, but.
Who, Grace?
Yeah.
Grace has came back. Let me see. Going back up through my notes. Where is it? Oh no, which?
It's all right. It doesn't matter.
everybody can enjoy the cuteness of Ava while I look for this. Okay, Echo Zulu was a 90. Grace Adler was a 74.
Yeah, but
But it's different tracks. It's different. It's a different scenario altogether. And both of them, though, did it so easily. It didn't look like either was being pushed. So
no, I mean, one has this innate talent and speed, and and the other right now isn't as fast, but has that maybe that running style and that you're looking for moving forward.
Hey, Ava.
Yeah, Mama.
Can you hold her up a little higher, Matt? Hey, Ava, how do you spell your name? Yes! Yes! That's my 3-year-old spelling her name. Yes. I know it's not the longest name to spell, but still, I think that's awesome. Right, Ava?
Yeah.
Are you happy your daddy's back home?
You.
I love you. I love you.
Okay.
Okay, so everybody, thank you so much. This has been a really fun replay rewind, going over some of the 2-year-old stakes action we saw this weekend. and just remarkably how well our Breeders' Cup champion stallions were represented. And yes, and again, I got a special congratulations to Three Chimneys with, 2 Grade 1 winners for freshman sire Gun Runner. That's really, really awesome. So everybody, we thank you for tuning in, and I'll talk to you again next week here on the Future Stars Forecast.
1, 2, 3, 4, 5.